Greetings all, my name is Elon Osborne and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about movies, audio, and music. So if you like those things too and would like to help support me in this endeavor, please consider joining my Patreon, rock some merch, get some original music, hang some digital prints on your wall, read my children's book to your kids. Stuff and things.
Link in description.
And now,
What's in the box?
ta-da! Open it up. Nice. Box number B. Literature. To read to your heart's content. Power supply. CineHub itself. HDMI cable. Owner's manual. White gloves. Remote. Power cords. Underneath. Wow, look at that. Left rear speaker, back. Center speaker, nice and sleek. I like that look. There's the back. Mounting. Right front speaker, nice. Little feet. And the rear. Left front speaker. Right rear speaker. Mounting. Little feet also. Subwoofer out. Get out of the way, box. Unwrap. Wow, look at that. 8-inch driver and airflow port. Power. Here's the second sub, just to see how it looks in a box all on its own. Tip it over. Ugh. Pull it off. Silica gel. Hi, my name is Silica Gel.
Me too.
Huh? Get out of the way. 8-inch driver. Sweet. The Enclave CineHome II is a completely wireless 5.1 surround system featuring WiSA technology, which transmits uncompressed 24-bit, 48 or 96 kilohertz audio to its satellite speakers, including up to 4 subwoofers. I'll go more into detail about that in a minute. As you saw in the unboxing, the CineHome II comes with left and right front speakers, an almost identical center channel, 2 bipole surround speakers, and a subwoofer. The front soundstage speakers measure 3.5 inches wide, 16 inches long, and 5.25 inches deep. Behind the grille of the left and right front speakers, there is a 1-inch tweeter and a 3-inch woofer and an airflow port. The only difference between those and the center channel is that the center channel has 2 3-inch woofers flanking the tweeter. The bipole surrounds look like triangles with their corners cut off, measuring 7 inches wide, 6.25 inches tall, and 4 5/8 inches deep. The subwoofer has an 8-inch downward firing driver that packs a wallop. It measures 11.75 inches wide, 14.75 inches tall, and 14.5 inches deep. The entire system is controlled by this here called the CineHub. On the back there is an HDMI port which supports both eARC and ARC, optical or Toslink, 3.5mm port, and can also connect wirelessly to your mobile device via Bluetooth for music streaming. Yes, these are wireless speakers, but they all need to be powered. First decide where you want to put them, plug the power cable into the speaker first, then plug it into the wall, then power them on. Then plug one end of an HDMI cable into the CineHub, making sure the other end is plugged into the HDMI port on your TV labeled ARC. Now plug the provided power cable into the CineHub, then into a power outlet, which then causes the CineHub to immediately search for the available speakers indicated by the blinking green light. Once all speakers have been established, the light will turn off. Appity, appity, app, app, app. Now it's a good time to download the Enclave Remote App for both iOS or Android. When you open it up for the first time, it'll prompt you with a quick little setup guide. Then it will search for the system, and once it's found, you tap Connect, which brings you to the home screen with the power button blinking. Tapping that power button turns on the CineHub, and you'll now notice that the speakers that are recognized are indicated by the orange color you see here. From the home screen, you can switch between the optical, HDMI, auxiliary, or Bluetooth inputs. If you go into the Settings tab, you can change the Dolby Pro Logic mode between off, auto, movie, or music. Change the Dolby dynamic range between standard, minimum, or maximum. whole room stereo on or off if you want audio to come from all the speakers when listening to music. When you first open the app, I would suggest to update the firmware, which is grayed out for me since I already updated it. In the room setup tab, this allows you to input the distance the main listening position is from each individual speaker, including the subwoofer. As you can see here, the max distance you can choose is 10 feet. So this system is not exactly meant for living rooms that are on the larger side. My listening position is about 13 feet from the front soundstage, so I just ended up maxing it out at 10 feet. My surrounds are right behind the couch, so I put 2 feet for those. The subs are up front, so I max out those as well. Back to the settings menu, we'll now go into the speaker levels tab to balance your levels even more. I personally reduced the level of the surround since they're very close to my head. After some testing of the subs, I wanted to boost them up 1 more decibel from my previous adjustments. In the settings tab, you can also look over a list of support FAQs for any troubleshooting needs you might have, or even open a support ticket straight from the app. Back to the home screen, you can also mute the audio. Note: I do have a quick 2-minute tutorial video on how to set up the Bluetooth for music streaming, since I couldn't exactly find out how to do it in the literature provided in the box. But in a nutshell, the most important thing to do is first make sure that the Enclave Remote App is closed, since the app itself also communicates with the CineHub via Bluetooth. So once the app is closed, you then pair it to your device like you would most standalone Bluetooth speakers, by going into your settings, Bluetooth, and choosing the Enclave in the list of available Bluetooth devices nearby. Then you can open up the Enclave Remote App again and choose the Bluetooth input. And now you're able to stream music through the Enclave speakers without having to turn on the TV, which I highly recommend because music sounds great through this system. Which brings us to our next segment. How do they sound? I had the luxury of reviewing this system with 2 subwoofers. And right off the bat, that makes this system a beast. This has been a recent development with the Enclave product line, offering up to 4 subwoofers, which is fantastic news, especially with the CineHome II system in particular, since it is the slightly smaller sibling of the CineHome Pro, which has a larger subwoofer, full range surround speakers, and is THX certified. So since the CineHome II has a subwoofer that is downward firing with an 8-inch driver, on its own it sounded just a tad directional. Your bass should be coming from no discernible direction. It should just be present and accounted for, more felt than heard directly. So having 2 subwoofers balanced that out tremendously. And I was very impressed overall when I was testing this out as my primary speaker system in my living room. Dialogue wasn't digital or compressed sounding, it was just clear and detailed. Music and sound effects in movies filled my living room very nicely. And this system handled lossless 4K Blu-ray audio like a champ. And that's where it really seemed to shine, to the point where it was almost starting to sound like I may be listening to a receiver with wired speakers. Having uncompressed audio with WiSA technology honestly makes a difference with this system, and I'm sure even more so with the CineHome Pro. I was definitely impressed with the Platin Monaco system, which is also WiSA certified, but the CineHome II just takes it to another level, especially with 2 subwoofers. Just a whole new league, really. Another thing about the Platin Monaco is that the sound got pretty compressed and a little bit muddy when there was a lot of action happening on screen during a movie, which is inherent with a lot of soundbars and wireless systems because their processing chips and circuitry are just so tightly compacted into such a small space. There was still some compression when watching action scenes during movies with the CineHome II, but much less than the Platin Monaco. Again, I have almost nothing bad to say about the audio reproduction of this system. So now, let's get on to the negatives, shall we? In any system like this, they always market it with something to the effect of completely wireless, no more hassle with speaker wires. But guess what? These are powered speakers, so they still need power cords plugged into them. In order to power the surround speakers behind my couch, I had to snake a power strip behind there, which is actually a lot bulkier than speaker wire. And in the front soundstage, since I'm dealing with 6 power cords, 3 front speakers, 2 subs, and a CineHub, I had to use a power strip there as well or plug them into the nearest wall outlet. Just like I mentioned in my Platin Monaco review, this system would go perfectly in a living room with lots of built-ins around the TV or bookshelves to hide all of the power cords a lot easier. And real talk here, I honestly couldn't get sound out of this system when I first hooked it up. Although truth be told, I've had quite the love-hate relationship with HDMI ARC and my LG OLED C9 TV. I haven't officially diagnosed my TV as the problem, but it could very well be part of the problem. Regardless, what I ended up doing was I hooked up the TV to the CineHub via Toslink or optical cable, and boom, I finally got some sound. And that in turn caused the HDMI ARC to suddenly work just fine from then on. It's almost like I had to jumpstart the HDMI ARC with Toslink first. It was weird. But even then, a couple days after I had started testing these speakers in my living room, it just decided not to work when I turned on my TV one day. I ended up disconnecting all the speakers, unplugging the CineHub as well, plugging it all back in, and then it worked again. But that's just what I've experienced with all wireless systems to some degree. There is just inherently more of a chance to have to troubleshoot connection issues. And lastly, when you get a system like this, where do you go from here? Pretty much nowhere. There's honestly not much room for upgrade, unless that is you haven't maxed out the subwoofers yet and you want to add 4 subwoofers. On their website under the support FAQs, they say you can use the SoundSend or the Axum link with the Enclave speakers, but it's not recommended. If you do use the SoundSend or Axum link, if you have the CineHome Pro, you lose that THX certification. You also lose DTS decoding, 3.5mm aux support, and Bluetooth support, just to name a few. So even though WiSA technology as a whole can support up to 8 channels of uncompressed audio, Enclave themselves kind of frown upon using anything other than their CineHub. And they've come up with an incredibly immersive 5.1 system that can be expanded to support 4 subwoofers. Like I said before, I have almost no complaints about the sound quality alone. When it comes to audio reproduction, Enclave calls it the soundbar killer, and I have to mostly agree with that statement. The audio was on another level, especially when listening to 4K Blu-rays. So this system is for those who want great sounding audio, who want something easy to connect, but don't mind the occasional hiccup that you have to troubleshoot, who don't mind the look of lots of power cords, or who have plenty of nooks and crannies to hide them in, and who are satisfied with this being their end-all be-all home theater solution and have no desire to upgrade in the future. If that perfectly describes you, then yes, you definitely need this to be your home theater system. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this review of the CineHome II 5.2 system from Enclave. Is this going to be on your home theater wish list now? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell and join my Patreon. And of course, always be listening.